Well, hello, everyone, and welcome to Summit Live. We are down here in Orlando, Florida. I'm your host, Brian Furness.
And Rick.
And we host a YouTube channel called Diesel and Iron that is geared towards getting guys into the skilled trades and then giving them some basic skills specifically regarding the dirt industry. And then we also have a podcast called Sweat and Grime that is geared towards, again, the skilled tradesmen, kind of keeping them entertained. And we have a very unique experience today. We are here with Congressman Darren Soto. How are you, sir?
I'm doing great, and we appreciate AED choosing Orlando. This is what we do, and what an impeccable time to be here when we have a lot of great news about growth in the nation and about AED doing some great business helping rebuild America.
Absolutely. And so one of the things we wanted to talk about in kind of our short time here is we just passed a huge infrastructure bill.
That's right, the biggest in the history of the United States, a $1.2 trillion infrastructure package for over the next 10 years. And so it means roads and bridges, airports and ports. It means fixing our energy grid and clean water, rural broadband, so many different key things that we need to continue to rebuild to be competitive in the 21st century.
And so the infrastructure bill passed. How quickly are those funds going to be kind of coming down the pipeline to where the guy on the front lines is going to see some of the impact of that?
So you'll see it right away with regard to funds that have already been allocated, knowing that there's all these coming down the pike. So a lot of states already got funding through the American Rescue Plan, and they may have been worried about whether they're going to have infrastructure of dollars for the next 10 years. Now they know with a certainty they're going to have a steady stream. So we're already seeing states be aggressive in their construction starts. You're going to see many members of AED get financing more easily to work on these projects because of this steady funding. And we've already seen some announcements of the funding itself. So here in Florida, we got an announcement of nearly $250 million for bridge repair in Florida. And then we saw also nearly $250 million just for our local airport here, Orlando International Airport, which many AED members flew into today. And for some of the northern states where bridges are older, I mean, we're talking about over $1 billion announced for Pennsylvania, for instance, as another state that has a lot of bridge repairs needed. So a lot coming and a lot announced on the horizon.
It's a phenomenal bill that was just passed at the right time, if not sooner, at the crumbling infrastructure. Now, what steps are you seeing with the buzz in the air, just like at the summit here live? You can feel the excitement of the success that has passed, that people are coming to the realization of we could invest in America's future now. What are you seeing from the feedback already from the top tier down to right here at the summit live?
Well, we're seeing a little positive hope in what is a challenging time in America, no doubt with COVID. And so this means jobs. It means fixing the traffic. So we have I-4 is the dreaded I-4 in Central Florida where people sit in traffic. Now, there's some northern cities and western ones that we may look like we don't have traffic at all compared to that, but in each major metro area of the nation, there is folks sitting on highways that could be expanded. So that's one exciting thing coming forward. In addition, you have some infrastructure that's just way too old. We mentioned bridges already, but water systems. You have literally some places like Boston where their water systems are from the 17 and 1800s.
Absolutely.
So upgrading those would be huge. And of course, when you're sitting there wondering whether you're going to go back to work on the construction site, whether you're going to be able to work at one of these equipment distributors and sales and others, it was already a banner year because we had good growth coming back from the pandemic, but we need to continue that steadily. And this is about not only investing in America, but being competitive compared to other countries. Like China, for instance, this will be the first time for the next 5 years we'll invest more in our infrastructure than China in decades.
That's huge.
Yeah, to be competitive, absolutely.
And infrastructure drives the heartbeat of America. So it consumes a lot of people in the industry, but it also turns around with the dollars that are spent, and it boosts the economy overall. So this is phenomenal at the right time. And I can't thank you guys enough, Congressman, of just the work you guys done for the people just down on the ground level to the guys right at the dealership. I'd just like to say thank you right now and everybody that passed the bill. So
Well, it's our pleasure. We're talking about our constituents, my bosses.
Yes.
to make sure that
Our
we
bosses.
Yeah, that's
your
right.
bosses too, to make sure that we have a steady work and really make sure that, we have a crossroads where we could either keep bickering and see our country start to decline, or we can invest in our future and make sure we have the jobs, but also the quality of life, so that you're not sitting in traffic, so that you're not drinking water that, I wouldn't want that for any family, my own or others, to have hazardous water, or to work on, for instance, in our rural areas, broadband internet. We saw over COVID, first, a lot of kids in the rural areas didn't have equal access to the internet, so they couldn't learn equally. We saw a lot of agriculture now being more efficient. They literally use Wi-Fi, so I have both the urban and suburban areas of Orlando, and then the rural areas where we have cows and oranges, essentially. And so you'll see that used to keep track of the cows with GPS. You'll see it used to make sure we're efficiently growing oranges. So this is really going to affect everyone, from both the urban to the rural to the suburban areas of the nation.
And just to specify, this is not a kind of one-shot pop deal. This is money that's going to be distributed over the course of time. Is that true?
Yes, over 10 years. And so it's the biggest infrastructure package since Eisenhower, which, looking at both of y'all, none of us were around back then.
Who is that?
That's a whole nother history lesson. But he was the guy who helped build the interstate highway system.
Sure.
Yes.
And so we still see that to this day. But a lot of those investments were made 70 years ago, 60 years ago. And so, for instance, in Orlando, we have I-4, which is 6 lanes. When they built it in the 60s and we had 500,000 people here, people were like, why do we need a 6-lane highway?
Yeah.
Now that we're 2.7 million people are like, why do we only have a 6-lane highway?
Sure.
We're waiting too long here in the sun.
And as we read these things in the history books about, the interstate highway system, or going to the moon, for instance, and other big things our country has done, World War II, people scratch their heads going, do we still have it in us to do this? And I believe we're the greatest, freest democracy in the world. And this is an example that it ain't pretty. Democracy ain't pretty.
Sure.
But that we can get it together to be able to invest. And then you're going to see some of these other things happen. We're going to head back to the moon, and to Mars is just another thing in your lifetimes that you'll see.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And I'm sure there'll be plenty of equipment being distributed to help with
Absolutely.
that too, out of Cape Canaveral.
That's right.
It's just great, though, to help the times get caught up where we could put the money where it needs to go to expand the growth and see the progress that has been held back for so many years. In Florida, besides 4, is there any other areas you guys are going to target right away specifically?
Ports are huge. We have supply chain issues, as all of you know,
Yes.
that we're facing. And you have some of these historic ports that we're going to upgrade, like in your Long Beaches and LA's and Elizabeth, New Jersey, and in Savannah, some of the biggest ports in the nation. But here in Florida, we have 13 major ports, including in Port of Tampa and Port of Jacksonville, Port of Everglades, and Port Miami. So that'll be a huge part of it as well. Our airports, look, tourism is our biggest industry here. So making sure people have pleasant experiences coming in and out of places like here in Walt Disney World, also going to be key. And then those are the big ones, as well as rural broadband for our agriculture industry, which is our second largest industry in Florida.
Well, excellent. Well, I thank you for coming on and chatting with us about this. Any last thoughts that you want to add in?
I think the key is this is the greatest nation in the world, and when we really want to, we could come together and make sure that we could fight for growth, for jobs, and for freedom to lead the world for this next century. But we all need to kind of get along where we can and find common ground.
Absolutely.
Thanks again.
Yes, thank
By
you
the way.
again.
It's my pleasure.
And thank you guys for watching. Stay tuned. We're going to be coming at you live throughout the day today and tomorrow. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button right below the video here. And if you hit the little bell notification, it will actually alert you when we go live so that you can follow along even though you're not here in attendance. So thanks again for watching, and we'll catch
Thanks,
you guys
guys.
here in a bit.
Thanks, guys.